Hello. Welcome back to my channel and to my podcast. This is Amber Slocum, and I'm your host of the Find You Fall in Love podcast. And I don't have a name for my YouTube channel right now, it's just my name. Welcome. If you're watching this, I appreciate you ignoring my wall. It's bad. That is on my list of things to talk about today. We are going to cover a few things that I am really looking to save for, things that absolutely have to happen pretty soon, and things that I want to happen pretty soon. So, let's talk about a couple of things first. I started my old Etsy shop back up, and I think I'm actually going to transition it to a brand new Etsy shop, and or at least change the name. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet with that. But there will be a couple of designs that go up. I've got an auto pay tracker on there now. I'm going to be doing since my stuff is really designed for freelancers, I'm actually going to be putting together a time tracker for you to use with each of your clients. Because one thing that I have not been able to find, and if you know that of its existence, I would love to find it. I use my hours for my time tracking for my clients. I own a bookkeeping business and I do some VA work on the side, and then I do some work out of the house, but I don't use it for the work outside the house. But one thing I have not been able to find is a system. I bill in 15-minute increments, which if you are not doing that as a freelancer, you are absolutely screwing yourself and making everything more complicated. Actually, I don't think that you would be making things more complicated, but I think that from a professional standpoint, a lawyer generally bills by the hour or in 20-minute increments or half-hour increments. And one of my clients actually told me, round it up to the nearest hour. Like, I don't care. Like, let's make this easy. And I said, okay. So, but one thing that gets for me, because I do 15-minute increments, I don't do 15-minute increments based on every second I work, because I have a lot of stop-start things. I generally don't charge people to go to the bathroom. I don't charge them when I need to take a break for my head or my eyes and go outside and walk around the yard, or if I have to go get the mail, things like that. I don't keep the timer running when I get up to do those things. So you might have a day and have 8 entries in there because I had to go get the kid from school and I came back and I did more work, things like that. So what I do is I take it by the day, all of the time for the day, and then I round the final up to the nearest 15-minute mark. And I find that that works really well, except that all of the systems that I have looked at and or have used have all done it based on every single entry, and that's just insane to me. So I don't do that, which means that I have to manually do all of that stuff myself. And when you attempt to export the data directly from the system into another system like Google Sheets, it pulls in excessive amounts of data and things that I don't need or want in the thing. And again, it's showing all of those things and nowhere is it showing me the total for the day. So I literally have to do it by hand. And it would take longer to organize the sheet in a way that I could actually use it. So I'm realizing that I've always done it just on a sheet of paper, and I end up doing it multiple times because of the fact that, I end up doing it for a week and then I don't do it again for another 2 weeks, let's say, because I didn't work for that client much or it wasn't enough to actually do anything about it. And so then at the end of the month, I do it again to audit myself and make sure that I didn't screw it up somewhere, but also just to check and make sure that everything is good to go. And so I sometimes do it 2 or 3 times repeatedly, and that is not efficient at all. So my ADHD brain can't figure out a different way to do this. So I just need to do it on paper. And I realized that I really need specific categories because of the way that I had been trying to do it before wasn't working. So I have changed the system a ton over the last 10 years, but and I've gotten more efficient every time I've changed it. So that's the good news. The bad news is I have to change it again. And it's not necessarily bad news, it's just different and another change. And I really think that if I were to put some effort into creating a form that I print off and actually use for each client, that would become much easier and become much more efficient because I could see what I've already done. And so I wouldn't need to do that again because it's already written there. So I could have one sheet for the month or one sheet for the quarter, however, often I'm doing these, depending on the client, and have a notebook or a binder that I keep all of these sheets in. So that's kind of what I'm working on. And I figure if I need something like this somebody else likely does as well. So that's where we're going with that. And I'm going to pull that together at some point in the next. I finally figured out what columns I want on it, and I'm going to pull it together and put it in the Etsy shop as well. So you are welcome to snag that for yourself. The other thing that I wanted to address is my sinking funds and things that I am saving for. I would absolutely love, like up until about, well, today, I was like, well, I'm just going to save for a crappy espresso machine because my coffee, please ignore this cup, it has been through 7 moves and it is a beat up old machine. And my last one, this is like, I bought this before I met my husband and we've been together 11 years. So it's like a 12-year-old cup. And while it doesn't keep coffee hot for very long, it still keeps it pretty hot for pretty long and it doesn't leak. And my hydro flask, I got a hydro flask like 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago ish. And it was just leaking like a sieve. Like the interior rubber gasket was just gone. And I was so sick of it that I just threw it away. And I've tried to replace that cup several times and I just haven't found something that I really love. So for now, I'm still in this crappy beat up old cup. I needed a coffee break. Oh, that's good. I just got fresh coffee beans this morning because my coffee this morning and yesterday was absolutely awful, but it was the end of the bag. So I was thinking that I was going to save for a nice, or not a nice, crappy, cheapo espresso machine, but there are some things that need to be done before I do that. And they all relate to my car, and nothing has been saved yet for that, except the birthday money that I have and the surprise cash that I found recently. Which I think is from last Christmas or the Christmas before. I'm not sure. So I currently need rotors and pads on at the very least one part of my car. But realistically, I've had the car since 2019. Yeah, December of 2019. And I really need to replace the front and the back rotors simply because it needs to be done. And it hasn't ever been done on that car, at least to my knowledge. And it has 70 plus thousand miles on it. And I absolutely, I mean, I believe the front rotors are really bad, meaning that the car shakes when I stop. So that has to happen in the next week or two. The back tires are very old, and the back right tire has been patched for about a year, I think, 6 months, 7 months, almost a year now. So that, and it might even be slightly more than a year. I can't remember. But we need a new back tire. I need a new back tire, and I might as well replace both of them because they both really need changed out. And finally, that's it. So I need brakes and rotors for the front and the back. And I need a new set of tires on the back, which is really going to be the front tires because I'm going to move what's in the front now that I got about 7 months ago to the back. And I need to do this all within the next probably 6 months on all of that stuff. But absolutely have to, because the back right tire is slowly deflating. Like I'm having to put air in it about once a month, once every other month, and I'm letting it get down several psi. So there is a slow leak in that thing, and I really want to get that handled before it's so freaking cold in Utah that I freeze my fingers off trying to put air in the tire and have to pay for air every single time I have to do this. It will be in my best interest to get something handled with that. So those are the plans. And then after that, then I'll worry about the cheapo espresso machine. But I digress. The cost of all of those things, I have it written down here, is going to be about probably $1,200 for everything. I've gotten a couple of quotes for the rotors, and it was like, for some reason, doing all four at the same time was way more, like $100 more than doing them separately. So I'm just gonna go with doing one. I mean, I can't afford that anyway, but even if I could, I wouldn't do it all at one time. I'm gonna do the front probably, or whichever one needs it more. I'm about 99.9% sure it's the front. Then I'm gonna do the tires, and then I'm gonna do the other set of rotors and pads. So hopefully that can all go that way and I don't need to do anything crazy. The amount of money that I found was $540. And I've been slowly pulling cash out for other things. So that's something that I'm going to use, not all of this, but most of this on getting the rotors done in the next week. Then I just have to save for the rest. And what that's going to look like is actually breaking them both down separately. So we have the 440 for the rotors, and about $300 for the back tires. So if the way that this breaks down, and I'm really working on trying to get an overhead camera holder, phone holder, so that I can actually record this, not on my computer, but on my phone, and have you guys look at my desktop. But we're not there yet. So I'm just doing it this way. Have a little Postie Note, and with the goal being that by the first of the year, oh, and the other thing that's going to happen is my registration is going to come up. And because we live in Salt Lake City, which has the worst air quality in the country, on our bad days, you have to go to China to see worse air quality. That's how bad it is. But I digress. They still require you to have emissions on your car every 2 years. And so that's going to come up with my registration and end up being $225 total. And I hadn't factored that in before. Oh, God. So I'm going to have to pick up some extra work for sure in order to manage all of this. Either that or those back rotors might just have to wait until well after the first of the year. That I might extend that out. I really want to get those tires done before the end of the year though. So that is going to be the goal. So I need $525 by the end of the year. So $525, and I might be able to get those tires for less. I was looking on Walmart's website recently, today actually, before I did this, and I could probably get it down to like 232 for the two tires with mounting and balancing. So I'm probably going to do that regardless, simply because the tires don't have to match, and I actually hate the tires that I have in the front right now. So, because they're extremely loud and they are not nice to drive on. So I'm going to replace those as quickly as humanly possible, but it'll with this a different tire. And hopefully the ones that I buy will be fine, and I can just get the same set of tires. So we'll just kind of have to see how that works out. But 525 by the end of the year, and I really need to figure out if I can change when my registration comes up, because right around the holidays is like the worst time to have to shit $225 or even 175. It's just really frustrating. Anyway, so yeah, how are we going to break this down? Again, I think I need to break that down into two separate things, with the total being 525, but I need to separate them out still, and be saving a little bit toward the tires, a little bit toward the registration, making sure that I understand where my end goal is with that, and then finding work to satisfy those things. So I hope this helps. Let's say we were going to, I know this was a lot of talking. Let's say that we were going to do it that way, and we were going to take the 300, and let's see, what is that time frame wise? Let me share my screen real quick, and we'll actually. So it's the 6th of October. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 weeks if I want to have it all done by the end of the year. My registration now, boy, this is not working, can go a little bit later. So if I have to push that out 2 weeks, I can. 2 weeks if necessary, but I'd really like it to not be necessary, if that makes sense. So 12 to 14 weeks on those things. Okay, so with that in mind, if I was going to do the 300 for the tires, and again, it could be less, but I'd rather have the 300 ready and then not need all 300 and then have extra savings versus not. So 300 divided by 12. That's $25 a week. Okay. And then the 225 divided by 12 is $18.75, or the 225 divided by 14 is 16, basically 16 a week. Okay. So yeah. Now I just have to figure out where I'm going to come up with an extra $25 a week here, and 25 plus 16 plus 16. So $41 to $43 a week is what I need. Okay, that's a lot of money. But I think that it is possible, and I just need to figure out the how behind that. So I hope this has helped you guys kind of figure out how to set some of these goals and how to figure out how much you need to save each month, in addition to what you're paying for bills. I hope that that's helped in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I think honestly, yeah, I might just have to be a little bit late on some of the other bills that also come up around that time. So we'll see how that goes. I'll have to figure it out. But anyway, I hope this helped. I hope that this kind of helped you formulate a plan for yourself, and understand like what you need to do in order to accomplish certain goals. And then, realistically, it's one of those things that you need to, again, save for, right? So that you have so you're not having to do what I'm doing now. You could do, okay, I'm going to put $5 or $10 a week into this fund and get it to where I know it needs to be in order to replace all of these things, and then shove that money into another account, whether that be debt or something like that. And then once you use that money, then you start the process over again and start funneling money back in. So hope that helps. Have a good day, and look out for the Etsy shop. Once I get that sheet put together and I've got it in the Etsy shop, I will put the link in the description below. Have a good day. See you. Bye.